And thanks for joining me in a rather chilly Copenhagen. We're here at a rather funky venue called The Plant, and this was apparently one of the biggest paper factories in Denmark. It's no longer used for that. It's used more for functions and for reveals such as this. And this is the Lamborghini Huracan Sterrato. Sterrato is literally a direct translation for dirt road, and that in itself gives you an idea of the orientation of this car. So, of course, we're quite used to seeing ultra-high performance SUVs and the like these days, but this is something of a novel concept. So what they've done is they've taken the Lamborghini Huracan and they've turned it basically into a bit of a dirt track weapon. So the idea sort of came about as a result of brainstorming sessions whereby some of the chief R&D folks from Lamborghini said, hey, well, we've got a lot of experience with dirt track dynamics via the Urus. Why don't we apply that to the Huracan? And that is precisely what they've done. So, using the Huracan donor car as the basis, they've gone about doing a whole host of revisions. So, as you can tell, the ride height has been jacked up. This sits 44 millimeters higher than the regular Huracan, and that's thanks to bespoke springs and dampers. The front and rear tracks have been pushed out by 30 millimeters and 34 millimeters respectively. Under that engine cover back here sits the familiar 5.2 liter V10. You can't see much of it here. In this car, it's the state of tune is 610 horsepower and 560 newton meters, so slightly less than the STO and Technica, but this car is not so much about outright performance. It's more about having fun on dirt roads. And with that in mind, as I'd mentioned, the ride height is 44 millimeters higher, thanks to the bespoke suspension setup. And also, you have these specially developed Bridgestone Dueler all-terrain tires on 19-inch rims. As you can see, there's quite an aggressive tread pattern there. So these were conceived mainly with dirt track performance in mind, but I was talking to the Chief R&D Strategy Officer, Luca Pacini, and he says the car is pretty good on tarmac as well, but of course don't expect to match the lap times of a Technica or an STO. So during the development phase, they found that they were initially, when the Pro driver took it out and after thrashing it around, they went through a few radiators and front differentials which got destroyed. So there is some underbody, there's an aluminium underbody reinforcement under there, and then you also have these sort of plastic wheel arch cladding front and rear, so these can absorb some light duty impact. So for example, if you bash against a few branches and things, rather than damaging the body in white, you can remove those and replace. And so with this car, of course, aero is not so critical. It's not really about ultra high speed performance. So aero wasn't so much of a consideration, except for this element here. So this roof snorkel has a very specific function, because what they found was when their Pro drivers started getting it out on the gravel and drifting it around, the V10 engine didn't so much like ingesting all the gravel and dust, etc. So that roof snorkel is located in a air channel that basically gets clean air to the V10. So that of course is much better for its welfare. The rest of the car is not hugely removed from the from its Huracan siblings. You've got the big carbon ceramic brakes, front and rear. You have, of course, some bespoke styling elements. Don't have the big, huge rear wing as you have in the STO. And this car has been electronically governed to 260 kilometers. And you might say, well, that's kind of slow for a Huracan, given that every other variant comfortably tops 300 kilometers an hour. But that's in keeping with the firstly the tires and also the ride height of this car, and also, as I'd said, that ultimate speed is not really the objective with this car. It's more about having fun on dirt. Now production starts in February of 2023. There'll be 1,499 units only, and pricing, I believe, will be around 263,000 euros plus tax. So of course that will vary depending on which market you're in. And yes, as I said, 1,499 units. Other things that are unique to this car, the LDVI, which is the chassis, the electronic brain that controls all the chassis dynamics, that's been tuned specifically for this car. There's also, in addition to Strada and Corsa, there's a rally mode, which lets you have some tail-out fun on gravel. And there's also some other interior, some trick bits inside the interior. Is this unlocked? Yeah, so you can, the lighting's not great here, but you can get a little bit of an idea of what it's like. And as usual, via Lamborghini's Ad Personam program, you can opt for one of I think 350 external colors, lots of interior colors as well. 0 to 100, if I remember correctly, is 3.4 seconds, and Luca Pacini, the R&D strategy manager, says this car weighs a little bit more than other Huracans, which is largely due to the extra strengthening elements underneath the chassis. The front suspension arms are reinforced, and then, as I'd mentioned, there's a bash plate up front to protect the radiator and front differential. So there you have it. What do you make of it? And what do you think of this concept of taking a supercar and turning it into an all-terrainer of sorts? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Personally, I think it's an interesting idea, and I look forward to driving it, which will hopefully happen over the coming months, over the coming couple of months. But for now, this is just a show and tell. So that's all for now. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.